What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the WichitaPromo podcast with your host EKM. Today I'm up here at MuddyWear, man, clothing store slash studios. It's a whole lot going on here, man.
Oh man, there's a lot going on. We're
Yeah.
just trying to get it together right now, man. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, getting the right teams and getting the right collaborations and
Yeah, for sure.
changing the way of thinking to get something different.
Hell yeah, for sure, man. Let the people know who you are and what you do for MuddyWear.
Okay. Well, for a lot of y'all probably see me on social media. It'd be Waldo.
Yeah.
But it's James. Really, we just kind of, me, myself, personally, I just kind of help with the structuring and just the day-to-day operations of running the store and, trying to structure the studio and get the right implementations in place so we can get that going. But other than that, it's more than just me. It takes a whole lot to get a machine like this turning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the background, a lot of business partners, a lot of, people that, don't get as much credit or might not be seen as much that, still play a vital role or, getting things to where they need to be.
Yeah, man. How long ago did y'all start this up?
So, honestly, the store and stuff like that, I've never really been involved with fashion or music or anything like that too much before. It just kind of happened out of circumstance. I've done liquor stores, smoke shops, things like that before.
Yeah.
But just out of, networking, relationships and just, the divine timing, if you want to call it that. But just running into the right people, the right times that had a vision and had already kind of planted a seed and started something with the store and with the studio. And, we was just able to start bringing different minds together and creating different relationships within, our own community and even traveling abroad and networking and expanding those relationships.
Yeah. Man, how did y'all meet? The whole team up here.
Okay, so it's kind of crazy, me and one of our main artists, producers, Diz.
Yeah.
We kind of came in around the same time. A couple years ago, we had the first store, we had the first studio.
Yeah.
And it was, it was a starting point for something. You know what I mean? It inspired probably a lot of us more than we'd probably like to acknowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was definitely a place where we all started. Me and Diz, we kind of came in same time. We met Sojo. Shout out Sojo. Y'all be working with Sojo a lot. And then Bro be networked with everybody else. And me just not being around those types of environments just in general. All those relationships and a lot of those meetings of the new people was new to me. So it was just through, meeting one person at a time and meeting the people that they meet and, just being around it. And eventually, it just all brought in together. It was with the store and the studio, our business partner, Dewey. His pops, his step pops, the one that kind of started the studio and kind of, had the push to, push Bro into getting the store. So that kind of just started there and we'd already had a relationship with them and, it just the timing and just, growth and evolution of just everything unfolding just played the way that it did.
Yeah. What was the process like of building up this place when y'all moved in here? Because it's crazy.
Oh, man, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. But like I said, it took some teamwork. It's still a big work in the process. We get frustrated. We bump heads just like any other team, just like any other, people trying to come together to build something bigger and better than themselves. You know what I mean? Because that's what I be really trying to emphasize now, with the direction and the scaling of where we're all trying to go. It's bigger than just any one of us now, so it takes all of us having to, balance right and kind of,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I feel that. What was like the vision when y'all first started this? And cause it's crazy, bro. I'm walking around this studio and I'm thinking like this is one of the dopest looking studios I've ever fucking been in the city. Y'all got a crazy clothing shop, crazy studio in the back. That hallway is insane,
bro. It's
like you
gonna
can shoot
go
a whole
crazy.
music video right there.
No,
and you sitting here like,
time.
yeah, bro, just wait till we finish.
Yeah,
like,
just
what are you talking
you hear
about?
me? Well, look, like man, like I said, like I never really was too involved with the music scene or too involved with the fashion scene.
Yeah,
and just coming around certain people, push things in that direction. But me personally, I'm a real big analytical, strategic type of person. I'm in my head all the time. So those are the types of things that, I like to process and apply my own time into. So being able to fold that into, psychology and sociology with people, because I love people. I like communicating. I like networking. I like trying to understand other people's perspectives and experiences and stuff. And, piece that together. I'm a big person when it comes to that. But being exposed to this type of industry and these types of people, it's given me an opportunity to expand those interests in a business aspect, as far as, creating an experience that caters to the artist and the influencer. And, providing an experience that nobody else is really giving anybody. A lot of people nowadays, they sell everything and they push everything on a price point, or, the cheapest for the best type thing. And, a lot of people wash out and they forget what good quality is, and people stop giving people quality, whether it be experiences, service, or this or that, everywhere you go, and so I really wanted to hit on a different aspect of that and a different approach, as far as catering to the experience of the artist and influencer. And, from everything that you're seeing, what you're hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, it all plays a vital role into how you're feeling and processing your own environment. And me, I like the aspect of creating that feeling in somebody, whether they realize it or not, because everything was done by design. It was all done intentionally, you know what I mean? From the hallway to the lights when you come in, and just the spacing of everything in the studio to how it sounds when you come in here, it does something to your senses. It's very stimulating. It's a stimulating environment.
Yeah, man, you got the spot, bro. This is the spot right now. I really feel like this is a perfect spot for collaboration, for real. You got space. You got it's just such a good vibe in here. You got a good quality sound. Like this is really the spot for real.
For sure. And that's really what I wanted to do too. I wanted to, like I said, going back to that psychological way of thinking and stuff. A lot of times, we think about the lion, going to go chase a zebra or gazelle through the field type thing. You know what I mean? And we've chased a lot of zebras. We've chased a lot of lions. I'm sure many of us have in life, whether it be in our own little ventures or business ventures or whatever it be, And I wanted to kind of flip the script and do something different, and provide a place that, facilitates that collaboration and facilitates that cooperation, you know what I mean? And really shifts the way of thinking for a lot of people. Because a lot of people, especially in the music industry and just business and just life in general, just with how people have their own perspectives, they don't create things to be mutually beneficial. You know what I mean? They think about themselves first, and then it's whatever after that. So, it was really just creating an environment to facilitate that change and thinking, and push those people that want that change and have that same mentality and that same approach together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, even and like the clothing side of shit, like I like the way that at least every time I've been here, every customer you got coming in through the door, it's like y'all homies. Like y'all just be chopping it up.
I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying as far as, catering to people and giving people a quality experience. You know what I mean? There's a lot of times, like even just earlier, you might have a customer that is in here for 2 hours trying on 5 or 6 different things and can't figure out what they want, But it takes that extra step of still checking the back to see if you have those extra sizes, this or that, And people appreciate that, and with what we're given here, even as far as our clothes, like the quality distinguishes itself, Bro has things set and priced to a point where we're not necessarily trying to take advantage of anybody, like a lot of the clothes that we have in the city, you see rappers and stuff wearing nowadays. And those bigger cities that you've been to, like Dallas and Houston, you've seen those same clothes go for almost double what we're asking for. So it's cool to bring something different to Wichita as far as a trend or a wave, and really see what people are messing with. But like I said, people come in, they feel comfortable because it's a comfortable environment. It's supposed to be, you know what I mean? Business is business, but why not be comfortable? You know what I mean? It can be an experience that ain't uncomfortable. Nobody likes uncomfortable experiences. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, creating that experience and giving it to people, you know, people appreciate that, and it gets reciprocated every time in the community.
Yeah, man. I like y'all be putting fits together for people, bro. I done seen so many I see y'all's clothes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like y'all are really like taking over the city.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like the two biggest I see, it's y'all and YBG. I see everywhere in the city right now.
I see YBG Studios out a lot. Yeah. No, it's been going crazy. A lot of people, you know, it's been kind of scaling up, and we just been trying to push and promote, and, you know, even whether it be taking the online and, you know, getting the website going and starting to ship orders online to, you know, just taking pictures and putting the stuff on social media pages and promoting, you know. It takes a lot of work, but it's so simple as promoting, you know. And we had this one dude, he told us, you know, promote yourself every day.
Yeah.
Because who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? If you're not promoting yourself, how could you expect somebody else to push it? You know, and I told an artist that just the same thing the other day. You know, she was trying to get an opportunity with a drop down mic video, and you know, I told her, you know, like, without going to go talk to that videographer or photographer and speaking for yourself as an artist, how can you expect to get anywhere like that? Because nobody's going to advocate for you more than you're going to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Man, how do you lock in all of that? Like, how did Come Through Tulsa come through here and all that?
Honestly, we had some good collaborations with that, but honestly, that was shout out Hippie K. You know what I mean? Hippie K really put all that together and really helped facilitate a smooth experience, and just bringing all the artists and getting the circulation going. Shout out Diz, first name Diz. He had a good part going in it. Ashe and just Heavy. Shout out Heavy Entertainment with the Creator Hub.
Yeah,
you know, everybody
Spence
was
always
just
goes crazy.
Bro,
with the
everybody
too.
Was just, you know, it just worked out right, and it just had, like I said, the environment created that, enabled that facilitation for collaboration. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He actually came through like had to be over a year ago at this point. It's when we did that cypher.
Yeah.
And when we did that cypher, he had hit me up, and he was looking for locations, and I had hit you up, and we were actually talking about doing that. Yeah. So I'm super glad he ended up coming in here.
Yeah. No, dope. Super dope.
Yeah. It's crazy how everything connects all the time like that. That's fire.
And it's crazy too, because even in like, the more I network and the more I expand, and, you know, even when we travel to these conventions in other states and stuff from time to time for the store, you realize how small the world really is, and how you can really meet anybody with just a simple conversation. You know what I mean? A simple handshake. Yeah. You know, and, you know, those opportunities can take you anywhere.
Bro, yeah. So that shit crazy, bro. The world's so small. I remember one time, shout out to Hippie K again. He took me on the road for a MC Gringo's show. Yeah. And this was in Nebraska. We pulled up to Norfolk, Nebraska at a show, and a dude from LA walked up to me in Nebraska and was like, "Hey, bro, I was trying to get on your podcast a while ago." Yeah. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's insane."
No, that's super dope.
That don't make sense. Because the numbers ain't that crazy.
It does, but it shows like, but it lets you know that consistency makes a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's a lot of people out here, and I'll be seeing it all the time. Like, a lot of people, you know, could be doing more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of people doing little is often perceived as more than most, because it is. Yeah. But just because you're doing more than most don't mean you're doing the most. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sure. So when you really have that consistency and you're really out there promoting and pushing yourself and networking those events and stuff, it makes a difference, you know? Yeah,
for sure. How does the clothing work in here? So I know y'all push so y'all get like popular streetwear brands, but it's like limited drops?
Yeah, so almost everything is limited drops, just through, depending on the brand or the designer. Yeah. We got this one brand, Prestige. You know, it's this dude from Atlanta. His brand's grown up and blown up a lot in the past couple of years. You see all the rappers wearing his stuff. Yeah. But he, I lost my train of thought. Help me out.
Oh, we were talking about how you get the like the brands in here. They got the limited drops.
But yeah, they're all limited drops. Like, so a lot of those brands, they might do a drop, but that'll be an exclusive drop, and they'll do like a next drop that might be similar, but it won't be the exact same. And then some drops, like, they're just all limited exclusive drops. So A lot of stuff, it can be kind of hard to, get the hands on, but like I said, shout out the team, shout out bro. He kind of networks everything as far as doing the inventory and just making sure that the brands get in here and people get to see something new and the quality's great.
Yeah.
But even with that, a lot of times with us, we don't do any reorders on a lot of the inventory that we do carry. So it's just constantly new drip cycling through. And I think that kind of, helps keep the traffic going and the growth going too, because there's always something new. You know what I mean? There's always something different. There's always, you don't have to, and then you don't run into the club and see a bunch of people wearing the same thing.
For sure.
Like I'm sure you notice now, we go to the club, everybody's wearing store stuff, but there's only so many outfits of this or that.
And for
a lot of times, there's so much diversity that they don't even have the same outfits on,
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Like, y'all have put me on to multiple brands. I started wearing Civilized and Lonely Hearts Club because I see them in here.
Yeah.
I bought a Civilized hoodie in here back when we did that cypher.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I was so pissed. I love that hoodie. It had the rose on it. You know what I'm talking about? It had like the hands.
Yep.
That shit was so cold.
With the little patchwork in the back.
Yeah. I wore that shit to a show. I was on the road with Hippie K and Keyboy, and we went to Utah, and it was hot as fuck. I don't even know why I was in this hoodie, but it looked good. You feel me? So I put the hoodie on. I was on stage rapping. It had to be like 80 degrees out, and I started sweating my ass off. So I took the hoodie off, threw it on the floor of the stage, and I'm still rapping and shit. By the end of the set, I looked down and the hoodie gone. Somebody ran with that shit.
Oh, no.
That was crazy to me. It was such a good-looking hoodie. They took my sweaty-ass hoodie.
They said they needed the hoodie. They said they
snatched that shit from
crazy.
me.
I can see it though. I've lost a few hoodies at concerts and shows.
Yeah.
I almost lost one at the show we did just the other week with Finesse 2 times.
Yeah.
I had to go back in there. I left it up there by the DJ booth. Oh man, it was crazy.
Yeah. Man, y'all put up to the Twista show. I seen y'all in there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We was up at Twista. We had to get up there. Support Hippie K, support Rita. Support Twan, just see what the city was up to, and see one of the legends in the city. You know what I mean? See one of the legends coming to town. See one of the just a collaboration, and shout out Angelo with Humble Greatness.
Yeah. It's good to see him start doing that. He been doing the local artist shows forever. For him to like take it to the next level is cool.
Yeah, no, Angelo, he I shout out Angelo. He really do got a lot of motion. I see that fool. He's busy and everywhere doing something every time I see him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be having to get that fool an energy drink or something because that fool just be moving 100 miles an hour. But
killing it with the movie
it
shit
shows
and
a good work ethic. You know what I mean? And hard work always pays off. So
yeah, for sure. Man, I think it's cool because like I don't know. I feel like a few years ago, like we wasn't really getting any hip hop shows like that, and it's still minimal. You know what I'm saying? But I remember a time like 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't shit going on for like mainstream hip hop in the city, and every time we did book some shit, it would get canceled. Like I remember I bought tickets to it was Lil Baby, 4-2 Doug, Moneybag Yo, and like a couple other people.
That's a crazy little lineup.
I was like, that's a crazy lineup. Like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That shit didn't happen because nobody bought tickets on time.
What? Oh,
that shit blew my mind. That was like the biggest people at that time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We be slacking on ticket sales here for some reason.
I think a lot of it just comes down to, honestly, going back to that collaboration and communication within our own communities, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it be down to the DJs or the promoters or whatever when they're doing certain events, you know, I think that's one of the things. Like when I see promoters and stuff teaming up to throw these events, I see those events being a lot more successful than, a bunch of people out here just trying to throw their own events and competing for the same market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like if, people were able to communicate and collaborate more together on a weekend and not have to compete for the same market that we all share.
Yeah. Me and Humble have had this exact talk on a podcast because it's like, you got to think if there's only so many venues in town. There's only so many people in this city. If 400,000 people are in this city, only 100,000 like hip hop. And then out of them, how many are going to step out of the club tonight? If there's 3 hip hop shows, you just split that whole crowd into 3. That's stupid.
Yeah.
That don't make any sense.
And it's such a simple process of evaluating, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We should all be working together to make sure our shit lines up with each other.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that shit's crazy, bro. What do you think is like holding everybody back in the city from doing that shit more? Because I am seeing like a trend. I do feel like we're getting better.
Yeah. No, the mentality, the culture is definitely shifting, man.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, it's just gonna take a little bit of time and just keep bringing that collaboration and bringing it together to really facilitate everything.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's help me out. What was you saying again?
Just how we can like come together better as a city and work together rather than competing. We always be competing with each other.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Communicate. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gotta be one of those things to where we're competing all the time against each other, because it shouldn't be like that, especially in Wichita, especially in such a small community with the businesses and with all the opportunities here in Wichita. Wichita's got such a great buzz right now.
Yeah.
Whether it be in the movie industries, whether it be in the music industries, or, personal businesses, and just, a lot of people expanding into, finding their own callings and doing their own ambitions and things like that, But I think a lot of it is just, adjusting that change and, approaching things with a mutually beneficial mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Times are changing, and, we live in a different world where, you gotta adapt, like even me, I gotta, I'm a little bit older, but I be having to adapt to technology and stuff like that sometimes. But that stuff has fostered so many relationships and networking events too, that it's opened up different doors. So it could be a span of a few different things, you know what I mean? But I think a lot of it just comes with that mentality shift and that change of perspective.
For sure.
Collaboration is way better than competition any day.
Yeah, for sure. Man, what'd you I never got to talk to you about it after we did it. What y'all think of that cipher that we put in
the
here?
Cipher went crazy. The visuals in the store,
that shit was hard.
It just go nuts. And
bro, something about them lights y'all got,
bro,
so
I don't know what it is,
camera.
and it's crazy because like my business partner, shout out my business partner, but he really wanted them lights, and I was against them lights at first. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was against the lights. I didn't want them. It seemed like an extra expense to me. And he pushed on them lights, so I'm like, it was fun.
It stands out.
And it was worth it. And then I noticed after we got them, a lot of people started getting the lights. That's what bro was saying. And then when I seen it, I'm like, dang, you so right. You know, but it definitely separates things and distinguishes things in the store. But it also helps, facilitate that, brightness and the colorful environment of, catering to the artist and the influencer, It makes things good for being able to do content or shoot footage or do things like that.
Man, even the wall you got with all the signatures.
Oh yeah, man.
That's
the wall's
crazy.
been going. You was here when we didn't even have that many names on the wall. There was just a few names, and now we got names going between names and everything else. I signed it
so long ago. I sat there for like 10 minutes trying to find my name.
Oh, bro,
it took a minute.
I
forgot.
Look, I ain't even signed the wall yet. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I ain't even signed the wall yet because literally everybody else comes in, they do the same thing. They'll spend 10-15 minutes trying to find their name next time they come because they can't remember where it was. And there's so many names on there now. The community's been showing a lot of support. There's been, across the board, it's just been kind of growing. And now there's names all over the wall. It's hard to find a spot to put your name now.
It's crazy, bro. I was saying earlier, like, first off, y'all can't even move out this motherfucker when you grow because the wall gonna be worth money.
Look, well,
you're gonna have celebrities signed on your wall.
You hear me? And
that's crazy.
It's just don't be one of those things. We really, this really, we kind of made this home base. You know what I mean? So we really trying to make this one of the first and main locations, and maybe one day we'll expand or do this or do that. But
I was joking around with Diz earlier off the camera. Y'all gonna fuck around and buy this and this right here. You gonna have your own restaurant and a venue.
Maybe
and all
one
that.
day, your mouth to his ears. You hear me?
Man, y'all going crazy, bro. This is the spot for real. It's crazy how earlier when I was just chilling in here, Diz was showing me some music off camera, and first off, the sound is crazy in there. But like I was telling you earlier, man, sitting in there a little spaced off, listening to the music and shit, you forget you're in a store.
Yeah, you forget so, that there's a whole storefront in the front. And it's crazy because you don't hear anything else either. You know, like everything's been treated well, you go in there and you literally forget where you're at. You can focus on where you're at and what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's an easier space to, do that type of work and have those types of experiences without the interruptions, without the, everything else of everyday busy life.
Yeah. How do people book a session here? How do people tap in with y'all?
So right now we only doing soft open sessions. We're trying to get everything together. We're going to have the website up within the next couple of weeks, and you'll have to book all your sessions through the website. We got some things that we're trying to foster with that collaboration in. So, for a lot of people that already have a studio they're locked in with, or have a producer they're locked in with, or somebody, even on the photography end that they might be locked in with, you'll be able to book your, preferred person within that industry. More than likely through our website. We're going to facilitate that collaboration so we can get other people in here, because like I said, it's a lot bigger than just us. We trying to, it's bigger than any one person. We trying to create an experience that caters to Wichita, caters to the DJs, caters to the promoters, caters to, the videographers, the photographers, the girls trying to, model and do branding opportunities and expand those. To everything, it's just a matter of approaching it with the right mentality to be mutually beneficial and collaborative. And, it takes a lot of work to, put those steps into motion and plan things out like that and bring the people together. Because, people be having their own schedules and all types of stuff. We've been talking about this podcast for weeks.
Man,
You know what I mean? Weeks trying to, just get the pencil time in. And, it works. You know what I mean? But, you'll be able to book all the sessions and stuff for the studio through the website once we get it up. But
that shit's smart, man, because I'll say it because I'll just be around so many artists. Y'all be bullshitting.
Well,
the website is good because you locked in. You need to show up at this time.
You got to pay your deposits.
A little deposit is good.
All that. But it's one of those things, too, like you're getting more than just your regular session. You know what I mean? You're getting the experience that comes with it. An experience that you're not getting anywhere else. An experience that's catered to you, for you. You know what I mean?
Bro, between the lights and then the hallway you got right here with the crazy lights, y'all gonna have so many music videos shot in here. It's gonna get annoying.
The visuals and stuff in the store and the studio are just gonna go nuts.
You know how it's like certain spots in the town that rappers be hating on because there's just been too many videos there. The graffiti wall, the parking garage downtown. Y'all finna be the next one. It's gonna be so many music videos in there. They're gonna be like, God damn, bro, another one in MuddyWear.
Shoot, we just gonna have to, expand the ideas and expand the network. Give them something different again.
That shit looks so different, bro. Like I can't think of nowhere else that I could shoot a video like that right there.
No, literally.
That's so crazy.
Like, bro, other bro was telling me the other day, he's like, man, every time I go look at the light cloud, I gotta go play a certain song just so I can look at it.
It really sets the mood, bro. I was telling you when you showed it to me, I could see myself, if I was in here and Diz cooked up some beats, I could see myself smoking and then just standing in the hallway for an hour writing songs.
Literally. No,
I'll just vibe in there.
Like, and we do the same thing sometimes too, you know what I mean? But it kind of, like I said, the environment facilitates, and caters to the artist and the influencer, it stimulates that creativity. It stimulates, those thoughts and processes for you to be able to create, for you to be able to, find a true resonance within yourself as an artist or a content creator or whatever, you know what I mean? So if that's what it's doing, then that means it's doing what it was supposed to do across the board, you know what I mean?
Man, I feel like one thing I've been seeing pop up in the city a lot lately is like fashion shows.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to see y'all getting involved.
I be missing out on all the fashion shows because I don't be seeing them until after everybody's posting them. And, they're walking up and down the thing. I'm like, dang, I should have went to that. It was like yesterday. You know what I mean?
I be wanting to throw one. I just need a venue. Venues be flaking out on me all the time. But either that or they tax crazy in Wichita.
No, venues working with, I think it's just kind of hit and miss. But I think it also comes down to, having the right relationships and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's one lane that I'm just not tapped in with enough yet.
You don't get there. We get in there, Every day we, shake more hands, expand more conversations and open up more opportunities. So.
For sure. If I can get a venue locked in, man, I would love to throw a fashion show because I get like local artists that make like real smooth. Like I seen Frank Sativa perform at YBG's. That was perfect. But a fashion show would be crazy because it's so many local clothing companies, and then y'all could show like the streetwear shit. Man, that would be crazy, bro. You get like y'all, YBG, Antimosity, Earn It, Frown Less. Like, bro, it's so many local clothing
the only
companies.
Thing with that is like, we want to get involved with things like that, but even on like, because we've had other people approach us with, you know, different ideas and stuff like that. But at the point where we're at now, we're more of a retail store, and we haven't really dropped too much to our own brand yet.
Right,
so
right.
That's some stuff that other bro be working on. He kind of, you know, getting the ball rolling on some things like that. So, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, growth and stuff since the last time we did a drop. So on the next drop, I know bro's really putting in that work and networking those relationships to, you know, give people, you know, something quality and something different that they haven't got, that, you know, is one of them ones that, you know, people would recognize in the city, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also, you know, just trying to get like make more time for events and stuff like that is something I really want to do. Because you see so many networking opportunities. You see so many people, you know, involved in doing the same stuff that we're doing, and you know, I think the more you get involved with those opportunities and stuff, the more beneficial it's going to be mutually for everybody. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I think also, bro, with y'all's like clothing, how do y'all find these brands? Because the thing about it, not only does it look good, but like when you go through y'all's store and like feel everything, it's like good quality. It's like good fabric. Quality. It's not like bullshit. Because I done been to like, you know, some other stores where like you spend a bag, wash it twice, that's gone.
Well, it's like I said, you know, and I be telling a lot of people, you know, quality is almost a blue ocean on every level. You know what I mean? Nobody's really giving people quality experiences, quality materials.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's, you know, people forgot what quality was. So, you know, and shout out bro again, you know, Dewey that be doing all the inventory. He be owning the store. He be really doing all the back end work that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah.
But that's all him. He's the one that networks the brands and makes sure that the quality standard's always what it's supposed to be.
Out. Everything I've ever got in here lasts like a minute,
it does.
Bro.
It does. Like I was just looking through my wardrobe the other day, because like I was saying, you know, like I wasn't, you know, brought up to be, you know, fashionable and type stuff like that. So I was looking at my wardrobe the other day, and I'm like, dang, I got more dress clothes and, you know, club clothes, going out clothes, streetwear clothes, and I do work clothes now. You know what I mean? It's never been like that before.
Yeah.
So, you know, definitely a lot. But that's one of those things, too, you know, like every time something comes in, it's always something dope. It's always something fresh.
Bro, like I done bought a couple hoodies from y'all that like, you know, I've bought hoodies before in the past where like it'll have like something crazy like this. This is crazy good quality. Shout out to Omen. This is Omen H, local rapper.
Yes, sir.
But like shit that'll have like a crazy design like this.
Yeah.
So many of the times you'll buy that, as soon as you wash it, it's like flaking off, it's fading and shit.
Yeah.
I've had hoodies from y'all for over a year now that still look like regular. Yeah. They look brand new. It's crazy, like the quality be holding up.
Yeah, no, they really do. I was
heavy ass hoodies.
Yeah, yeah. No, they the quality be great, and like I said, bro, really be networking and making sure that, you know, the quality standard's something different. You know, and with that, you know, it'd be a lot of stuff like when you go to the mall, you go to like these other stores and stuff. They used to, you know, 15, 20 years ago, they used to have some stuff that caught your attention. It was always fresh. It was always something new. And, you know, nowadays I feel like a lot of the corporate entities and stuff like that have lost touch with the culture itself, you know. So there's not a lot of stores, there's not a lot of places that actually keep up with the waves and the trends and what's hot and what's not as much anymore. So, you know, bro really does his time and his due diligence into, you know, doing that. That's what he's really passionate about, you know. So
for sure.
That's what's been giving him his whole drive for everything. And people all the time ask us, you know, like, what's the one thing, you know, that you would tell somebody before they go into a business or this or that. And I tell people all the time, you know, whatever aspect it is, make sure that you're passionate about it, because so many years, you know, even a lot of people as artists, you know, go into something and you don't see any payout, you don't see any benefit from it for years.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right,
it's not paying the bills or doing the livelihood stuff for years, and then and then it does.
Yeah,
and the only reason that you were able to stick it through was because you was passionate about it.
100%.
It didn't matter if you was making money or not. You loved to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really pushes things to be different with certain people, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what creates those new trends, those new waves, whether it be in the music or whether it be in the business scenes or, you know, any other cultural scene, you know? Like.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Man, what do you guys have for like some goals for this year? Because I know y'all are still building stuff up.
So goals for this year, you know, like now that everything's kind of getting wrapped up with the studio and we're kind of getting that on track and finished.
Yeah.
It's really just expanding more for the website, expanding more for the store, and expanding more for the studio, you know, and like I said, catering to the community, you know, giving people those opportunities to network and work with people that they might not usually be able to work with or meet people that they wouldn't know otherwise, you know, and facilitate those collaborations, those cooperations, you know, but really scale things on a growth scale that's, you know, good for everybody, you know, gives people, you know, revitalizes the city, gives somebody a breath of fresh air, you know what I mean? Something different, you know, and I think that's one of the things, you know, like even when we travel and stuff, like I love seeing new things. I love having new experiences, you know, and that's what it is collectively. It's a new experience with new things. And, you know, once you have, you know, the good experiences and the good things and this and that, it becomes something that you constantly want. It's like you constantly, if you got good people around you, you constantly want good people around you.
Yeah,
you know,
for
and
sure.
it'd be just like anything else.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I don't think I got any more questions. Is there anything else you want to say to the people?
Shoot, nope, just look out for us, you know.
Yeah.
We're over here at 31st and Seneca, 3165 South Seneca, Wichita, Kansas. We're, like I said, expanding the website. You can check us out at MuddyWearClothing.com, or you can check us out on our Facebook, our Instagram. We usually stay pretty up to date with keeping new inventory posted. And, you know, just communicating with the community, what's going on with us and what's going on, you know, around us.
For sure. Yeah, man. So closing out every episode, man, I like to ask pretty much everybody this.
Okay.
Put the people onto some local spots in the city. It could be anything like food, anything at all, clothes, music, venues, anything.
Well, I'll be from the north side, the Mexican north side, so I'm going to put you on some Mexican food.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't checked out El Pollo Dorado over there at 21st and Park, it's always a good spot to get you some tacos, get you some chicken plates.
Okay, for
whatever
sure.
you want. One of them hood spots, they cook it all outside on the grill.
Yeah.
Another good spot, if you haven't checked it out, a good little Mexican spot, I'm going to give y'all a south side spot, you know.
Yeah.
Tito's Birria over there off of Hydraulic and Wassel.
Okay,
Another really good Mexican spot. The homie's mom be over there in the kitchen cooking it up, and you know, he be right down the block cutting hair. So
yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Yeah, man. Should I appreciate you sitting down and talking to me, bro? We can get another one in anytime. You already know.
Yes, sir.
I live pretty close by, so
shoot.
Once I came in here, I was like, damn, bro, I could be in here all the time.
Yeah, man. Like I said, shoot, that's what the space is for. That's what you know. And I love, you know, I always love having conversations and rubbing minds with people of, you know, like-minded mentalities. You know what I mean? Because that's hard to find sometimes, and you know.
Yeah, yes, for sure, man. I appreciate you sitting down with me. Appreciate y'all for listening. Make sure you tap in with MuddyWear.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.